Hello, you may notice we're in a graveyard, and you may notice in our first introductory piece that there is some blurriness in the photo. We think this is part of being in a cemetery and the ghosts of the Bronte sisters haunting us. We hope you enjoy this video anyway. Hello, this is Bruce Pattinson from Total Education Centre. We're in Scarborough today to look at Anne Bronte's grave as part of our series on the Bronte sisters and their literature. We're in St Mary's churchyard and we're about to go and have a look at her grave. We'll do that now. Here we are at the grave of Anne Bronte. We're in Scarborough looking at this grave, and this is reminiscent of Anne Bronte, the author of Agnes Grey and The Tenant of Wildfire Hall, both books which were extremely popular in her own day. Anne Bronte these days in modern times is better known as the quieter of the sisters and the least popular of the sisters, but in her time she was extremely popular. She came here to Scarborough to recuperate from an illness, but sadly died after only 3 days, and they buried her here, the only Bronte buried in St Mary's Cemetery. All the other Brontes are buried in Haworth, the family area and the family church, about 40 kilometres distant near Leeds. What we have here is the sort of third reincarnation of Anne Bronte's gravestone. The first one had 5 errors, and 2 years later her sister Charlotte came to visit and of course corrected 4 of those 5 errors. Unfortunately, we see here at the front, the Bronte Society had to put this plaque in to get the age correct later on in time. So here in Scarborough you can see from the flowers on the grave that people still come to celebrate the literature and the life of Anne Bronte. We'll now go on to talk about some of the other Bronte sisters and take a closer look at their literature. Probably one of the sisters that we need to talk about is Charlotte Bronte. Charlotte Bronte of course wrote Jane Eyre amongst other things, but most particularly we're not going to talk about her today and in this lecture series because we already have a series on Jane Eyre. If you go back and look at some of our previous videos, you'll see there's a video on context of Jane Eyre, there's stuff on Charlotte Bronte, and there's all the themes, ideas, characters and all that sort of stuff. So revisit our old videos, and now we'll move on and talk about Emily Bronte and Wuthering Heights. Another one of the sisters was Emily Bronte, and she wrote that fabulous classic Wuthering Heights, the dark romantic novel of sadness, hopelessness and tangled love and passion. I'd just like to read a little short introductory piece and we'll discuss little elements of the text later. Charlotte describes Emily as having no worldly wisdom and presents her as coming from a narrow world experience. Wuthering Heights is often said to contest this assertion. Wuthering Heights is certainly a powerful story, but knowledge of the complicated inheritance patterns of the area is shown. There's also a real understanding of how outsiders, especially town dwellers, see the more isolated, wilder areas. Emily Bronte clearly wrote from the domesticity she knew, but the issues she explored, like those of love, savagery and spiritualism, show a thoughtful mind that moved confidently beyond its physical isolation. And certainly the novel does cover many, many dramatic elements, and Heathcliff is one of the most famous and exciting characters in English literature. Now let's have a look at the novel in general. So what is it about this wonderful novel that makes it nearly basically eternal in its grace and popularity? Is it the contrasting settings of Wuthering Heights, the deep, dark, bleak household, versus Edward Linton's light and colourful manor house? Is it the concept of love and passion? Is it the different concepts of revenge versus that eternal love? There are so many different things. Also, we've got to talk about the different levels of narration and what happens, who's narrating, why are they narrating, and what part are they narrating. There's also, of course, the supernatural elements of the story and Lockwood's interesting characterisation himself. But for me, what makes Wuthering Heights such a wonderful, proud and dramatic novel is the character of Heathcliff and his love for Catherine. And I think that's probably what everybody reads that novel for. Heathcliff is the urchin boy who comes from nowhere to ride roughshod and dominant over the world of Wuthering Heights and the people around him. And he's just one of those marvellous characters that lives in everybody's mind forever. Well, what are we going to do in this series on the Bronte sisters? We're going to be looking at Wuthering Heights over the next 5 or 6 videos, probably starting with an introductory
video on the context and have a deep and close look at Romanticism and what Romanticism was and how it affects this novel in particular. In regards to Wuthering Heights, we'll also be looking at, of course, the ideas, the characters, the setting, and some of the language elements of the novel, and then wrapping it up in its totality. We'll also be having a look at some of the other aspects of the Bronte sisters, their work, and that period of English history. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed this short introductory series. Of course, the other videos on the novel will be far more detailed than this one, so look out for that, look out for us. See you later. Well, I hope you're enjoying our series on the Bronte sisters, and especially our feature on Wuthering Heights. Don't forget, if you like what we do, have a look here, go to our website and enjoy the products. Don't forget, subscribe to our channel here, Total Education Media, and if you like us, go to Facebook, press like on Facebook, and you'll get a special offer for discounts on our products. Don't forget, look out for more in this series. See you next time.